Goose Girl. Once upon a time, there was a little princess whose father was dead. Her mother, the queen, was alive, and she loved her daughter very dearly. When the princess grew up, she was to be married to a young prince who lived in a far-off country. At last the day came when she was to leave her mother and her country and set off to the distant country in which her prince lived. Her mother gave her all kinds of rich and beautiful things, gold and silver cups, dishes, diamonds and pearls, and fine dresses of silk. Then she gave the daughter a maid to travel with her and 2 horses to carry them. One of the horses was a fairy gift. His name was Falada, and he could speak almost as well as you can. Just before the princess set out on her journey, her mother gave her a thin leaf of gold with some strange writing on it. "Dear child," she said, "take care of this, and it will take care of you. Keep it carefully, and it will keep you from harm." The prince put the charm close to her heart. Then the queen kissed her daughter again and again. At last, with many tears, they said farewell to each other. The princess and her maid mounted their horses and set off. The sun was hot and the road was dusty. As they trotted along, the princess felt very thirsty. She said to her maid, "Please get down and bring me some water from that brook in my golden cup." Now the maid was a very saucy, sly girl. She knew that she was a long way from the queen, and she began to be rude to the princess. She said, "Get down yourself if you are thirsty and drink at the brook. I am not going to wait on you." The princess was so thirsty that she got off her horse. She knelt by the side of the brook and bent her head down to drink. She was very much hurt by her maid's rudeness and wept. "I wonder what will become of me," she cried. Then the charm close to her heart said, "Alas, alas, did thy mother know? Heavy indeed would her fond heart grow." The princess was comforted. She rode on her way without saying a word to her saucy maid. Again the princess grew very hot and thirsty. Once more she said to her maid, "Please to get down to the brook and bring me some water from the golden brook in my cup." Again the maid was very rude. She said, "Get down yourself. I am not going to wait on you." Once more the princess got off her horse and bent her head over the running stream. Her tears fell in the water, and she said, "What will become of me?" But the charm close to her heart said, "Alas, alas, did thy mother know? Heavy indeed would her fond heart grow." Then she bent her head to drink. As she did so, the charm fell out and floated away on the water. The princess did not see this, but the maid did. She laughed aloud with wicked glee, for she knew the princess was now in her power. When the princess had finished drinking, she tried to mount her horse again, but the maid pushed her aside and said, "No, this horse is mine. Falada belongs to me. You will ride on the other horse, or stay where you are." The meek, gentle princess was forced to agree. The maid then made her mistress strip off her beautiful riding dress. This the maid put on, and then made the princess dress herself in the clothes of a servant. They rode on, and the maid pretended that she was the princess. "If you tell anybody that I am not the princess," she said, "I will kill you." The poor little princess was afraid, and she had to promise that she would not tell. She wept, for she thought that she had no friends. She really had one friend, and that was her horse Falada. He saw and heard all that took place. At last they reached the king's palace, and the false princess entered the courtyard amidst the sound of trumpets. The king himself ran forward to welcome his son's bride. He lifted the she wandered forlornly about the courtyard and wondered what was to become of her. The false princess was taken to an upper room. Here she changed her riding dress for a lovely robe made of cloth of gold. Meanwhile, the old king looked out of the window and saw the real princess down in the courtyard. She looked sweet and pretty, but very sad. Anybody could tell she was the daughter of a queen, even though she wore shabby clothes. "I wonder who she is," said the old king. "She looks like a princess pretending to be a maid." When the false bride appeared in her fine dress, the king asked her who the strange girl was. "Oh," she replied, "she is only a servant. She is very idle. I hope you will give her some rough hard work to do." "I don't know what work to give her," said the old king. "Wait, she shall help the lad who looks after the geese." "That will do," said the false princess. "Any kind of work is good enough for her." So the real princess was sent to help the gooseherd whose name was Conrad. Then the false bride sat by the prince, who was soon to be her husband. They talked of many things. At last she said, "Dear prince, would you do something just for me?" "Anything," he replied. "Ask what you will, and it shall be done." Then she said, "Get one of your men to cut off the head of the horse on which I rode here. It is a wild, fierce animal, and not fit to live." The truth was that she was afraid the horse would speak. She thought he would tell the servants that she was nothing but a maid, and that the real princess was helping the gooseherd. The prince told his men to kill Falada, and that night the deed was done. When the real princess heard the sad news, she wept bitterly, for she loved her horse very much. Then she went to the man who had killed her horse. She promised him a gold piece, which she found in her pocket, if he would nail up the horse's head over the city gate. She wished to see the head of her friend as she went to and fro from her work. Next morning, as the real princess and Conrad drove the geese over the field, she saw Falada's head nailed up to the gate, and she said, "Falada, Falada, thou art dead, and all the joy of my life is fled." To this the head answered, "Alas, alas, did thy mother know, heavy indeed would her fond heart grow." Then they took the geese out to the meadow and sat down to watch them. Soon the princess let her hair down, and the long tresses gleamed like gold in the sunshine. Conrad was so pleased that he tried to pull out one of the locks. At this, the princess sang, "Blow, ye breezes, blow, I say, blow the goosehead set away. Blow it high and blow it low, after it let Conrad go. Blow it here and blow it there, while I comb my flowing hair. Do not let him catch it, pray, till my hair is combed today." At once a breeze sprang up and blew Conrad's hat over hill and dale. The lad ran after it, and while he was chasing it from place to place, the princess combed her beautiful hair and tied it up until not a lock was out of place. When Conrad came back, he was very glum and sulky and would not speak to her all day. When the sun sank, they called their geese and drove them towards the town. Next morning, they passed under the gate, and the poor girl once more looked to the horse's head. Then she said, "Falada, Falada, thou art dead, and all the joy of my life has fled." To this the head replied, "Alas, alas, did thy mother know, heavy indeed would her fond heart grow." They then continued on their way to the meadow. Sitting down on a bank, the princess began to comb out her beautiful hair. Once more Conrad wanted to pull out a lock, and once more she called on the breeze She makes my life not worth living." Then the king asked Conrad to tell him about the strange girl. He told the king that she spoke to the horse's head every morning, and that it answered her. Then he said every day she let out her hair, which shone like pure gold. When he wished to pull out a lock or two, she called on the wind to blow his hat off, and then it did, and he had to chase it over hill and dale. And when he was away, she did her hair up again so that not a lock was out of place. Next day, the king went to the meadow without being seen by anybody. He hid himself in a bush by the side of the bank on which the princess sat. Here he could see and hear all that went about without being seen. He saw Conrad and the Goose Girl drive the geese to the meadow. Then he saw the girl begin to let her lovely hair down. Conrad was quite right. It did shine like pure gold. He then saw Conrad try to steal the lock and heard the girl sing, "Blow, ye breezes, blow, I say, blow the gooseherd's hat away. Blow it high and blow it low, after it let Conrad go. Blow it here and blow it there, while I comb my flowing hair. Do not let him catch it, pray, till my hair is combed today." Then the king felt a breeze blow, and saw that it blew Conrad's hat ever so far away. The lad had to run a long way to catch it. He saw too that while the lad was chasing his hair, the girl was combing her hair. It was all in order by the time he came back. Though the king saw all this, he did not let the Goose Girl see him. That night he called to him, and asked her who she was, and what these strange doings meant. The Goose Girl wept, and said, "I dare not tell you, for if I do I shall be killed." "Nonsense," said the king. "Tell me all about it, and I will see that you come to no harm." He looked so kind that the girl told him the entire story. "I am really a queen's servant," she said, "and a false servant has taken my place. She has ridden my horse and killed him. She wears my clothes, and now since with my prince will I tend the geese in the field. Oh, my lord, send me back to my mother. If she knew of my sad plight, her heart would break." When she had finished her sad tale, the king kissed her and dried her eyes. He then ordered his servants to dress her like the princess she really was. As she walked down the stairs in her beautiful dress, anybody with half an eye could tell she was a princess. She looked so sweet and carried herself so nobly. Then the king called his son and was told him that his bride was no princess, but a cheat. He said that she was not a queen's daughter, but a maid who had stolen the real princess's horse and clothes. "Here," he said, "stands the real princess, your bride." At once the princess saw that he had been cheated. He knelt to kiss the hand of the lovely but ill-treated princess, who smiled upon him. Then a great feast was made, and all sat down to it. The king sat at the head of the table, the false princess on one side, and the real princess on the other. During the feast, the king told the story of the wronged princess. He asked the false bride of what should be done to the one who had acted in such a wicked way. "She should be locked up for life in a dark prison," said the maid. "Nothing would be too bad for her." "You are right," replied the old king. "You are the person who has done so wickedly. You have judged your own case, and said what shall be your punishment. So be it." So they shut up the false princess in a dark dungeon, because she had so wickedly wronged the real princess, and had cheated them all. Then